You're an executive, and right now you're feeling the weight of the AI revolution pressing down from every side. Competitors seem miles ahead. Consultants constantly warn you're falling behind. Your board anxiously wonders if you're doing enough. And your employees whisper nervously about losing their jobs to algorithms. It's relentless. I'm sure it's exhausting and frankly overwhelming. I get it. So let's stop for a second. How are you really feeling about all of this AI hype? What's running through your mind when you're lying awake at night? Are you cautiously optimistic, quietly anxious, or just plain confused about where to begin? In this two-part series, just like episodes 3 and 4, I am stepping into your shoes. Today we'll explore exactly what's on your mind as an executive facing AI, your hopes, your fears, your frustrations, and lay them bare. No jargon, no judgment, just empathy, clarity, and real-world understanding. And in the next episode, I promise clarity and confidence. I'll provide a clear step-by-step blueprint to confidently embrace AI without falling into the dreaded 70% of digital transformation failures. Stick with me. In the next 2 episodes, I will turn the madness of AI into manageable, actionable steps, bringing not only method, but genuine excitement, performance, and impact to your journey. I'm your host, Jay Tikam. Welcome to episode 6 of Impact with Digital, where we explore digital strategies from a human perspective, making sense out of the noise, finding a way to drive performance and impact, making sure you are on the right track. In this part 1 of the 2-part series, I'll get into your mind, trying to understand the dilemma that executives face when confronted with AI, thinking they need to do something, not knowing where to start. No matter how big your business is or how small it is, no matter what sector you're in, we all face the same pressures. I'll try my best to understand your dilemma. And in part 2, we'll provide a step-by-step approach to dealing with AI in the most optimal way, ensuring that you get the best return on your investment and that the AI actually works in practice. So let's get started. I'm sure you're constantly surrounded by AI noises. Some make perfect sense, while others seem like noise. Some messages raise important issues, while others make you concerned. Let's explore some of the AI messages coming at you from all directions on a daily basis from different types of stakeholders. Of course, I use AI to generate these voices. So your board is getting concerned because it seems like your company just isn't doing enough. This puts more pressure on you. You feel compelled to start something, anything.
The other board members and I are increasingly concerned about our AI strategy. We're reading about these advancements daily, and frankly, we need to see a clear plan for how we're going to leverage AI to drive innovation and future-proof the business. Are we truly keeping pace?
You read articles on how AI can make your business more competitive. You wonder whether you're missing out. You wonder whether your slow response may see competitors getting ahead of you in the crazy world of AI. You're bombarded by consultants and software vendors urging you to act and spend money on their solutions. They put the fear of God into you, hinting that if you don't do anything, you're just going to be left behind. Maybe becoming the next Kodak in the camera market or Blockbuster in the Netflix market.
The window of opportunity with AI is rapidly closing. If you're not aggressively implementing solutions now, you risk being fundamentally outcompeted within the next 18 to 24 months. Laggards will simply become irrelevant.
You're bombarded with executive level courses from prestigious institutions. You wonder whether you should take a course just to make sense of this AI stuff or look competent in front of your board and staff. You wonder whether you should be arranging training for your board and maybe also all staff. Maybe if they have the skills, they could be coming up with ideas on AI rather than consultants. Or maybe you want your employees to take the baton and learn about AI so that they can implement solutions in their functional areas. Staff are disillusioned with yet another digital change program. Following the latest fad, they fear job losses, or at least disruption, to adopt yet another new shiny tech solution.
We've been promised all sorts of efficiency gains with new technology before, and it rarely pans out as advertised. This AI stuff just feels like another buzzword that will create more work for us in the long run, because we'll have to fix buggy systems yet again.
New regulation on AI are emerging regularly. They promise to put guardrails on something that has huge potential for good, but can also cause harm. They also put restrictions on what you can and can't do. You feel compelled to follow regulation because, after all, you don't want to end up taking your firm down the wrong side of the law. New AI principles, standards, and best practices emerge daily, and you and your organization need to find a way to stay on top of these standards. You see so many cases of AI failures emerging in the press and in research papers. This can really be scary, especially when you're just on the path to doing something with AI. So there's a lot of noise out there in the AI world. There's a lot of hype as well. And you're not imagining this noise, it's real. The pressure is mounting from within and from outside on you as an executive. Everyone is shouting all around you. What are you meant to do? How do you feel with so much noise going on around you? Some of this could be good, some just hype, some serving personal interests rather than serving your interests. As an executive, owner of the business, or a founder, you have a public face. You have to show your shareholders, investors, the market, and staff that you have everything under control, that you're on top of AI opportunities. You need to look like you are in control and at the forefront of the AI wave. However, in the quiet of your office or in the dead of the night, when you can't sleep because of all these worries, how do you really feel? What are you thinking? What should you do next? Should you get internal advice from your IT team? Should you get independent external advice? Will advisors just try and sell you something you just don't need? Should you raise it at the board meeting and seek the board's advice on what to do next? Should you organize a planning session with your board? If you are the owner of a small business, should you consult your peers or ask a similar business like yours what they are doing? Should you raise it at the next networking meeting of your industry association? Should you just launch that pilot you've contemplated or implement the system the vendors have been forcing you to trial? You know you need to do something. Your board, management, and staff are looking to you to take the lead, ensuring your company is not being left behind in the AI race. You're expected to act fast, deploy something, show results, but you're worried. You are unsure. In the previous episode, I've already highlighted evidence by a reputable research which shows that more than 70% of digital transformations fail. Is AI transformation going to be any different? If you launch an initiative, what if it fails? Honestly, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we have got to face reality. Let me get some facts on whether AI initiatives are succeeding or failure. What are the lessons we learn from failure of others? If you want to make sure you don't end up making the same mistakes, you want to be forearmed and forewarned. Now, research highlights very high failure rates for AI, just as they do for digital transformation. Gartner's research highlights that 85% of AI projects fail. Many other sources report between 70 and 80% failure rates. Such high failure rates will give you cause for concern, and rightly so. What if you have to abandon the AI program a few months into it? It's going to waste money, but it's also going to take up time and the attention of management and employees that could have been better used on other strategic projects that drive the company forward. If it fails, your reputation is on the line, and maybe your CEO or executive job may also be at risk. We talk about high failure rates of AI programs and also of digital transformation. But what does this actually mean in practice? So let's try to define what failure means. Does it mean a complete loss, or is there still some benefit of AI initiatives, in which case it's worth pursuing? Let's dive into what research defines as failure, and more importantly, how to spot the signs of failure. So let's look at 6 different definitions of failure, ranging on a scale from complete loss to systems where deployed, but they don't really produce the benefits. So number 1, we have complete abandonment of the AI project. In this case, the AI project is halted, resources invested are written off, and the intended solution is never deployed. If it's deployed, it's decommissioned. And the telltale signs of this kind of a failure is project termination, reassignment of team members, and no deployment to production. So the second type of failure is a failure to deliver expected business value. Now, in this case, the AI solution is functional and is deployed, but it doesn't generate the anticipated returns, improved efficiencies, or increased revenue, or it doesn't achieve the strategic goal it was intended to. The telltale signs of such a failure is really low user adoption, minimal impact on key business metrics, or the bottom line, high maintenance costs which outweigh the benefits. So a third example of failure could be technical failure or poor performance. Again, in this case, the AI solution is actually deployed, but it faces some technical issues such as inaccurate predictions, biases, instability, and integration issues. And you can often tell these with telltale signs or indicators such as high error rates, inconsistent outputs, inability to handle real-world data variability, security vulnerabilities, and user dissatisfaction due to poor performance. At number 4, we have a pilot purgatory and failure to scale. What does pilot purgatory mean? In this case, it means that the pilot actually shows promise in a controlled environment or in a proof of concept environment, but it fails to be successfully deployed in business as usual. You can tell this kind of a failure when you find that the projects or the pilot is prolonged for a long period of time. There's a difficulty in integrating with existing systems. The organization is just not ready for widespread adoption of this AI system. And there's no business value beyond this test case. So in the 5th case, and this is a significant one, failure can mean ethical failure and negative consequences. So the system again is deployed into business as usual, but it starts generating unintended consequences, such as discrimination, privacy violation, lack of transparency, and it erodes trust or actually invites regulatory scrutiny. The telltale signs of such a failure is really biased outputs, regulatory non-compliance, damage or loss of reputation and trust, maybe because customers start to complain. And lastly, failure could mean a failure to achieve user adoption. So in this case, the system is developed, implemented, and actually proves valuable to the organization. However, users don't adopt such a system because of resistance. Maybe they lack trust, maybe they have insufficient training, or poor user experience. And you can tell this kind of a failure often by low usage rates, negative feedback from users. There's also workarounds being developed by employees or customers to avoid using such a system. Lack of integration in daily life is a clear sign that you're facing this kind of a failure. These are crucial signs that you have to watch out for, and hopefully this gives you some framework to monitor whether your AI project, when deployed, is going down the path to failure. And at least once you understand the telltale signs, you can do something about it to make sure that you bring things back on track before wasting a huge amount of cost, time, and effort. So let's explore some real-world case studies of AI going wrong. And what are the consequences when AI solutions actually go wrong? It's always a great idea to keep track of AI initiatives failing and succeeding. They provide valuable learning lessons. An interesting case study popped up in research for this podcast. It involved Air Canada. They developed an AI chatbot to help customers improve customer experience and reduce reliance on staff, maybe also to reduce costs. However, in February 2024, it ended up costing the company money, its reputation, and time in fighting a small claims court case brought about by one of its customers. The chatbot gave the customer wrong information about the bereavement fare policy. So in this case, a customer, Jake Moffat, visited Air Canada's website to book a flight from Vancouver to Toronto. He needed to travel urgently to attend his grandmother's funeral. He suspected that the airline provided discounted rates for travel related to bereavement. Not sure, he opened the chatbot to ask if a discounted rate applied. The chatbot presented the following text message, which I will read out to you. Air Canada offers reduced bereavement fares if you need to travel because of an imminent death or a death in your immediate family. If you need to travel immediately or have already traveled and would like to submit your ticket for a reduced bereavement rate, kindly do so within 90 days of the date your ticket was issued by completing our ticket refund application form. So just to be sure, Jake took screenshots of the full AI chatbot conversation, and he proceeded to apply for a refund after booking the flight. Jake was surprised when his claim for a refund was rejected, not once but multiple times. Air Canada's actual policy was not to issue refunds after the ticket had already been booked. Remember, Jake applied for a refund after booking the ticket. Air Canada maintained that the chatbot had included a link to the actual policy and that the customer should have read the policy document instead of relying on the chatbot. Naturally, Jake wasn't happy and he launched a civil claim in the small claims court. The chatbot clearly did not follow the company's policy and provided incorrect information. In their defense, Air Canada said that they cannot be held liable for the information provided by one of its agents, servants, or representatives, including a chatbot. However, in the court, Air Canada lost. They were ordered to pay a partial refund and damages. A small financial cost, however, a heavy hit on their reputation for poor customer service. While the financial loss was small, it highlights the fear that the company, its staff, and management can sometimes have little to no control over what AI produces, and they have to bear the consequences of large-scale errors. So let's go to a second example of Amazon. Amazon was desperately looking for developers. They developed an AI recruitment tool, which was later ditched. So the recruitment engine was meant to go out and search profiles on social media, as well as accumulate CVs, go through those CVs, and against the rules, they were expected to come up with 5 of the top candidates out of every, for example, 100 CVs. Because of the way the AI was trained on historical data, they created biases against women, and therefore they were not referring or highlighting developers that were female. Amazon naturally shut this project down with wasted time, cost, and effort. So let's look at the last case study of Wells Fargo. They created an automated calculator to understand whether clients facing foreclosure could afford the repayments after the loan was modified. For example, the term of the loan was increased, extended, or the interest rates dropped, just to help out the customers. And obviously they had to factor in the attorney costs, which also they needed to claim from their clients. As a result of this miscalculation, around 400 customers were denied mortgage modifications, even if they qualified, and sadly, many lost their homes. Why do these AI initiatives fail? In the past episode, I covered the reasons for digital transformation failures. Let's explore the research to learn some common reasons for AI initiatives failing. I'll touch on what research highlights, and there are many research papers out there on this topic, which I urge you to look at. These are just some of the examples, and I'm sure you will find many other reasons which I don't cover in this episode. So firstly, as I already highlighted before, the AI project could completely be on the wrong path. It could be misaligned with business objectives. The AI could also be technology-led, a solution looking for a problem, lacking clear goals when the AI system is adopted. Perhaps the executives or the organization gets caught up in the hype and the slick sales by vendors and consultants. Data issues, poor quality of data or lack of data is also a cause for AI initiatives failing. Insufficient expertise is one of the common reasons for AI projects failing or halting. There's a lot of demand for AI skills and there's a lack of supply in the market. You also need to train up employees, for example, with specialized knowledge, which takes time, and that slows down the adoption and deployment of the AI solution. Inadequate infrastructure. AI is very hungry for computer power, and if your systems can't cope, you need to upgrade that, which takes you time. Alternatively, the system that you implement just doesn't work. There are also some issues integrating with legacy systems, for example. Oftentimes, unrealistic expectations is the cause for AI project failures. Getting caught up in the hype and expecting AI to solve all problems, and when it doesn't actually deliver what you intended it to deliver, this can be partial failure, or executives may decide to can the whole project altogether. Now, change management is something I've covered in the past, and whilst the system could be all flashy, all singing, all dancing, if employees, customers, staff, partners don't use it, it's then pretty useless. And finally, AI is not the panacea solution to everything. In some cases, a simple system could solve the problem. And executives get caught up again in the hype and develop an AI solution. It's an overkill. And executives find out later on that they could have just implemented a potentially much cheaper solution, which they may well do so in future because it's simpler to implement, simpler to adopt, and simpler for users to use. So we've heard the noise, we've seen the failures, we've tried to understand the causes of failures. And really you're bombarded by the noise, driving you to do something related to AI or risk staying behind forever. You see the groundbreaking opportunities of AI to shift your business. However, you can't ignore the risks, challenges, and most importantly, the very high failure rates. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. So what are you thinking right now? What questions come to mind? In the quiet of your office, in the dead of the night, when worries of AI keep you awake, many questions come to mind. Let's dive into the mind of the executive, CEO, founder, or owner of the business. Let's listen to some of the self-talk, expressing fears, uncertainties, and confusion of what to do next.
What if I'm the only one holding back, and I miss the one opportunity that could have changed everything? We've been burned before by big promises and buzzwords. How is this any different? I tell my board and my team we're exploring AI, but the truth is, I don't really know what that even means. If this fails, what do I really stand to lose? Not just money, but the trust of my team, the confidence of my board, maybe even my own belief in what I'm doing.
So you've heard the noise, you've seen the headlines, you felt the pressure, and maybe, just maybe, you ask yourself some of those same late-night questions. The real risk isn't just in doing AI wrong, it's in doing it for the wrong reasons, without clarity, without alignment, without purpose. That's what part 2 of this series is all about, because AI isn't the starting point, your problem is. In the next episode, we'll show you how to cut through the noise and begin with clarity. How do you find the right problems worth solving? And how do you know if AI is really the answer? Step by step, no jargon, no hype. It's time to replace anxiety with alignment, panic with purpose, and confusion with clarity. See you in part 2. This is your host, Jay Tikam, signing out.